In this question, we are given that A, B, C and D, they are all positive numbers. That means that they all, A, B, C and D will all be greater than 0. Now we have to find out if A by B is less than C by D. Now before moving on to step 2 to analyze the statements, let's see if we can simplify this given expression. Now since B is a positive number and D is also positive, we can write this expression as, we can multiply both sides by BD and this will give us B and B gets cancelled from the left hand side and we have AD or DA less than BC. So this is the rephrased question that we have to check if the value of AD is less than the value of BC. Now that we've simplified the given inequality, let's move on to step 2 where we analyze the statement 1 first. So the statement 1 tells us that the value of C minus A by D minus B, this is greater than 0. Now we can multiply both sides by D minus B whole square. Now why are we multiplying both sides by whole square even when we know that B and D are positive? Because we are not given that, because we do not know if D is greater than B or B is greater than D. So there is a possibility that D minus B will be less than 0. So to avoid that mistake, we multiply both sides by D minus B whole square. Now this gives us D minus B whole squared times 0 is less than C minus A by D minus B multiplied by D minus B whole squared. Now D minus B and D minus B gets cancelled and on the left hand side we have 0 which is greater than C minus A multiplied by D minus B. Now we can write this as C minus A times D minus B is greater than 0. Now this implies that either C minus A is greater than 0 and D minus B is greater than 0, which gives us that C is greater than 0 than A, and D is greater than B. Now on combining these two inequalities, we get CD is greater than AB or AB is less than CD. Now if you recall what we had to check, our rephrased question was if AD is less than BC, but from here we got AB less than CD. So we cannot conclude if the product of AD is less than the product of BC. So statement 1 is insufficient. And from the given options, we eliminate A and D. Now in the statement 2, we have that AD by BC whole squared is less than AD by BC. Now we can multiply both sides by BC and get AD by BC whole squared times BC is less than AD by BC times BC. Now BC gets cancelled on the right hand side and on the left hand side also BC gets cancelled in the denominator. We are left with only one BC. So we have AD squared by BC is less than AD. Now we can divide both sides by AD. This gives us 1 by AD times AD squared by BC is less than AD by AD. Now on the left hand side, AD gets cancelled, leaving just one AD with us, and on the right hand side, AD gets cancelled as well. So we have AD by BC is less than 1. Now since B and C are positive integers, we can write this inequality as AD is less than BC. Now this is what we had to check. This is what the rephrase question was, to check if AD is less than BC. So from the statement 2, we can answer with a definite yes that the product of AD is less than the product of BC. So we can conclude that statement 2 is sufficient, and the correct answer is option B.